here at Rio Salado Golf Course in Tempe, Arizona, and today's lesson is going to be about the takeaway. Now, whenever we're talking about the takeaway, the first three takeaways that usually come to mind are the right forearm takeaway, which is basically where the right forearm is activating the backswing. The other one is the one-piece takeaway, where everything is supposedly going together and moving together. And the third one is the left shoulder takeaway, where everything is being pushed or driven by pushing this left shoulder back away from the ball. Now each one of them has their own merits, and let's talk a little bit about each one of them a little bit here. The first one, let's talk about the right forearm takeaway. Conceptually, this is in order to trace the club going back, or trace what's often referred to as the plane line, where you're taking and your right forearm traces a path back away from the ball and up to your right shoulder that's been turned. Okay? So ideally we're tracing this line and going back, and that's all done with the right arm. What this does is it helps to coil that right arm and put it in a good position that once we've done so, we can fire it again, being coiled, and it fires down at the ball and goes through towards the target. It's more of a hitting type of thing. You're trying to hit the ball a little bit more with your right arm when you do that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the one-piece takeaway. Well, the one-piece takeaway, what they're trying to do is keep the upper body connected. That is, keep the arms close to the chest and use your shoulders to just turn. And you're just turning. And basically that's just keeping it together. And the idea is that the whole apparatus, your arms, everything move away from the ball together. Okay? The third one is the left shoulder takeaway, and that's where the left shoulder, again, pushes away and goes back away from the ball. This helps to create extension going away from the ball. A lot of people like this stretched out look when they're going back here like this. Almost the exact opposite that we saw with the right forearm takeaway. Now what each one of those three takeaways is doing, and they're all trying to do this universally, is basically take the club on plane. Now taking that club on plane is basically where it's mechanically easier because the balance of the club basically falls in line with where the shaft is being pointed to. It's a little bit heavier if the club is this way. I can feel the weight more over this side, and I can feel the weight more on this side. That would not be at a mechanical advantage to me to have it either way. What I believe is that you don't really need to do any three of those. Because even though they're each trying to accomplish their own little set of goals to create a so-called better swing, what I really believe is that since they're all trying to universally do one thing, let's stick to the principles of that universal thing. And that is just, how are we going to get this club on plane? Well, the number one thing that I find is that when golfers focus on a body part and how they're moving a body part, is they lose the attention to everything else. They stop focusing on what the club is doing and where they're moving the club. They lose focus of where they're making the direction of the club go. But I believe that if we focus more on the club and what we're trying to do with the club, we'll be able to create a much better takeaway. And that takeaway simply is this. You want to move the whole club away from the ball. That is, the whole club, the grip end and the club head and the shaft, all move away at the same rate. It's not one way this way, it's not this way, okay? It's not to take the club this way, and it's not to take the club this way either. What we want is to move the whole club away. You see how that works? The whole club, including the grip, moves away from the ball together. Most people have this problem, okay? Now this is what I call a leverage action, where we're trying to put leverage on the golf club, so that it makes it easier later to make that swing. We've probably all heard of an early wrist cock, right? I don't like an early wrist cock, because what that does is it usually places the club way inside of the plane. Sometimes they'll even place it way outside of the plane. It just depends on whether or not you let your forearms roll. If you let your forearms roll like this, you see, if I let it roll like that, that's going to be way inside. If I just cock it straight up, then that's going to draw the club outside, you see? So if you cock your club up like this, right, early wrist set, that's going to take it, watch, if you look down the line here, if I do an early wrist cock, you see that club is way out in front of me that way. We don't want a roll of the forearms either, which is what I commonly see is the takeaway, is to roll the forearms and then cock the wrist, right? That's what I see all the time, is forearm cock the wrist. Now I'm way flat. I don't have that club anywhere near what a mechanical advantage would be. I want to take the club on plane. Now, to take that club on plane, if I move the whole club away, you're going to see that goes right down the same plane. By moving the whole club together, what you're actually causing it to do is that the hands are kind of inside where the club head is, right? We're not taking it down inside and underneath like this. This would be an early forearm roll. And we don't do the early wrist cock like this because that's going to bring it outside. Most people are trying to do an early roll and a wrist cock in order to get it on plane. And what that does is now I've basically created my coil way too soon in the swing. And when you do it so early in the swing, everything is about leverage at that point. You feel leverage. You feel like you're having to pull and strain and stretch. I don't like pulling, straining, and stretching. I want a swing. And a swing does not involve pulling, stretching, and coiling, okay? It may feel powerful, but we don't want to feel powerful. We want to feel easy. We want it to feel like it's nothing. We want it to feel like we're using the most mechanical advantage that we possibly can. And the best way to do that is through a swing. And I'm telling you right now that a roll of the forearms and a cocking of the wrist is not a swing. It's a leverage action. And leverage action may feel powerful, but it's using muscular effort. And muscular effort wants to be released at some point. Boy, try timing that muscular effort that you just created. Try timing it at just the right time to make perfect solid contact. That's 90% of the problem right there with most golfers. So we want to get away from the leverage actions and we want to get to a swinging motion. And again, the best way to do that and to start a swinging motion is to make sure that this whole club is moving away. Looking at it from this way, again, the grip and the club head are all moving away from the ball at the same time. And you can clearly see, looking at it down the line, that that's putting it right on plane with each other. By the time I reach the top here, I haven't forced anything to happen. I've just simply turned the club, and notice the toe starts to point up towards the sky. It's a little bit angled here. Okay, that's actually good. We don't want to have it open like this. This is going to cause problems. This is a rolling of the forearm and a bending of the left wrist and all the bad stuff that we don't want. We don't want to be flat like this either. We don't want to have it shut down like this. But I'm telling you that all of that stuff would be avoided if you simply just take the whole club back away from the ball. Instead of trying to do this sort of thing, or do this sort of thing, or try to flip it up like that, you just simply take the club, the whole club, away from the ball. And that motion right there is what's going to make that toe point up. We're going to be on plane. We're going to be making a nice, smooth swing that's going to be effortless and isn't going to require a lot of leverage and strength and muscular effort. Okay, so let me just go ahead and demonstrate for you in a swing. I'm going to take the whole club away from the ball at once. The whole club away from the ball to start my swing. It's a good shot, went straight out there, and it felt like a swing instead of like I'm trying to pull anything. That's really important. You really should feel like you're loose and limber and swinging the club, swinging your arms, letting everything go together naturally and freely. We don't want to be creating muscular effort by trying to roll underneath or pull, cock it up here like this, or any combination of the two to get it on plane. If you do, it's just going to be all over the course with where do you release that tension, where do you release the muscular effort. I hope you had fun listening to me. I hope this helps you out, and I look forward to doing some more videos for you. Thank you.